Alright guys, as you can see from the title, I played the beta for over 50 hours and I didn't like it. Let's talk about it. So I actually went into this beta with really reserved expectations. The closed test showed the movement looking slow and clunky, and the gunplay seemed to be heading down the same path as Battlefield 2042, when, let's be honest, Battlefield 5 had the best gunplay in the franchise. Off the bat, I didn't expect much because, let's face it, if the movement and gunplay don't feel good, you're not going to enjoy the rest of the game. To my surprise, however, movement did get some nice improvements. It feels faster, smoother, and a little bit more reliable now. But that's where the positives end. The gunplay? Complete spread nonsense with almost no recoil. It's basically 2042 all over again. The beta was riddled with bugs, the performance was horrific, and I literally had to drop everything to low with XeSS on performance mode just to get decent frames. And it's not like my rig is some potato. I'm running a 7800X 3D with 3080 Ti. If I'm struggling, that's a bad sign. Then you hop on Twitter, Twitch or YouTube, and it feels like I'm living in a different reality. Every content creator and every normie is out here praising the game, calling it the most polished AAA release in the last 5 years. Some even said it's the best beta they've ever played. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting here thinking, did we play the same game? Because what I played was a game full of bugs that ran like garbage, has terrible maps, and yeah, it has fucking spread! It's 2025, and somehow Battlefield players are still treating spread like it's the holy grail of aiming. Meanwhile, when you tap or burst, you basically have no recoil and no spread. You're lasering people from 100, 200, 300 meters away with no effort. How is that satisfying? But the moment you start spraying, okay, Jesus take the fucking wheel because it's all luck based. It's so RNG. You're basically playing slot machines. It's complete mess. So bad. Spread completely ruined the experience for me. When your bullets don't go where you're aiming, it just never feels good. Like, no matter what anyone in the Battlefield scene tells you, it just doesn't feel good. Like, it doesn't feel good when you're aiming at someone, your crosshair is straight on them, and you miss. And then they'll be like, why aren't you tapping? Why aren't you bursting? Like, of course when you spray, like, spread is gonna make you miss. Yeah, that's what I'm doing, but it's not fun. That's the worst part. Because there's pretty much no recoil when you put attachments on. When you tap or burst, it turns every gun into a laser beam. You shouldn't be able to demolish people at 100 meters away with no effort or skill involved, with an SMG or with a carbine that has over 900 RPM. That's ridiculous. There are no redeeming qualities here. There's no skill expression, no satisfaction. It's basically 2042's gunplay dressed up to look a bit different. It's like when you copy someone's homework and they tell you to change a few words so that it doesn't look the same. They don't work. It looks the fucking same. I knew I wasn't gonna like it, but I wanted to play a bit of 2042 because I wanted to include it in the video. And as you can see, I don't have any attachments. I have like an hour in the game. This is the first assault rifle, no attachments on, and I'm just lasering people. And these are not even the best clips. Like, one of my games didn't record and I had multiple kills like 200, 300 meters away. And there's no recoil. There's barely any bullet drop. How is this satisfying to people? I don't get it. I'll say this though. Even though I think the game has a lot of issues, and I personally really dislike the direction that they're going with, I can see why people who've only played Battlefield are praising the game. Because compared to 2042, which is like dog water game, which I only had to play for an hour and I still wanted to gouge my fucking eyes out. Like, compared to that, yeah, it's the best game ever made. However, more than these two particular games exist, even compared to the other Battlefield titles, like, it's not that great. And when compared to modern titles, it just looks terrible. Like, compared to the finals runs much better, has better destruction, and the gunplay is phenomenal. The game has to have better maps at launch, but if they did have better maps, why didn't they put them in the beta? That's the real question. There needed to be at least one big fun classic Battlefield map, something in the vein of Caspian Border or Strike at Karkand. Instead, we got an underwhelming design across the board. Even the smaller maps that were infantry focused can't compare to previous betas. Battlefield 5 had Rotterdam and Narvik. Those are much better maps. Battlefield 4 had Siege of Shanghai, which is like one of the best in the series. So it's a little bit weird that these are the maps they picked for the Battlefield 6 beta, and I really doubt that they have better maps, because why would you put mediocre maps into the beta? The beta is supposed to hype people up. Like, okay, maybe you're not gonna put all of the best maps in the beta, but at least one of them. And none of the maps in the beta are that insane. Compared to 2042, yeah, they're a big improvement, but even compared to Battlefield 5, where people criticize the maps, like at least half the roster of the maps is better than the beta maps. That said, it's not all doom and gloom. I'll say something unpopular here. I actually like the Week 2 map, Empire State. Yes, it was chaotic, but the verticality made it feel unique, and the pacing was surprisingly good. On the flip side, Sniper's Peak might be one of the worst Battlefield maps I've ever played, easily in the 2042 territory bad. Siege of Cairo and Iberian Offense were okay. They at least had some decent side routes, so you didn't feel like you were being funneled into 2 choke points playing whack-a-mole, which is how a lot of the engagements felt when I played 2042, except when you were playing on a really open map, where you also didn't have really nice engagements unless you were in a vehicle. My perspective here on the maps is mostly from playing Conquest, specifically Open Weapon Conquest, because out of the 150 games I played, around 135 were on Conquest. And this leads straight into another controversial topic, weapon lock. I don't get why people are losing their minds over it. Honestly, the difference was really small, but open weapons felt a bit better. It's because people were actually swapping to engineer to deal with vehicles, and since support was broken, you had way more health packs and revives going around. That's something Battlefield players have complained about for years, and now when it's finally happening, they screech against it. Make it make sense. I've literally never been revived this much by random teammates in Battlefield's history. So why are people so against open weapons? It's clearly working. And you get this weird Twitter arguments. I had one guy swear open weapons ruined balance because, in his words, snipers were playing support with infinite ammo and health, and I asked him if he's ever actually seen that in a real match, and he didn't respond. Because it doesn't happen. In the 50 hours I played, I don't think I was ever headshotted once by a support sniper. Playing anything but a sniper as a sniper rifle is actually trolling yourself, because your headshots aren't fatal and they just revive your kills. And you never have an issue with ammo or health, because the recon class has a redeploy system. If you ever run out of ammo, you can just kill yourself and then respawn on your beacon. It makes no sense to complain about this. There's no reason not to play recon if you're playing a sniper rifle. And for the other classes, it's just straight up quality of life update, because you can help your team be an objective player while also playing a gun that you enjoy. You're no longer locked into playing a shitty gun you don't want to play if you want to help your team. That's why so many people were reviving. That's why so many people were playing engineer. They were incentivized to swap because they can continue using the gun they like while also contributing to the objective. The only people who are negatively affected by open weapons are vehicle players, because now they're gonna have a tougher time surviving because more people are gonna switch to engineer and shoot them with rockets. But is that really bad? Wasn't the whole point of the game that it's a team-based, objective-based game where you coordinate with other players to achieve victory? Sure, you're not gonna be able to play brainlessly and just rush into the site with your tank. You're gonna have to play more smart, but that doesn't sound bad. That sounds like good balance, good design. Lastly, If you're that opposed to open weapons, even though it objectively brings a lot of positive things into the game, you can always choose not to play it. There's gonna be two modes. I don't get why some Battlefield players are trying to delete the other mode from the game when it's pretty clear that open weapons are likely going to be played by way more players. Movement is another hot topic. Some players want more skill expression with fast and fluid movement and with actual tech to master, while others are out here pretending Battlefield is a milsim or a tech shooter. That's just not true. Battlefield has always been a casual run-and-gun arcade shooter at its core. Unfortunately, the loud voices won. There was a dev blog post about nerfs to movement. It seemed really bad, but the dev responded to the backlash on Twitter and assured us that they're only looking to nerf abuse cases where bugs were involved. A single slide or a jump were supposed to stay the same. When people played the playtest, however, it was immediately obvious that that wasn't true. They nerfed everything, and they nerfed it bad. One slide or one jump, and your weapon was suddenly wildly inaccurate. This was already the slowest Battlefield in the franchise. You can't drop shot, jump shotting is weaker, landing is gone, and now it's even more restrictive. It doesn't feel like a sandbox anymore, it feels like jail. And yeah, casual players are celebrating this on Twitter, but it's going to be short-lived. Casual friendly games with low skill ceilings get boring really fast. Once content creators and higher skill players get tired of it, there's no hype machine to carry the game, and it dies way quicker than it should. Battlefield needs depth, it needs mastery, not just accessibility. Right now, the movement system is tilting way too far toward the muddiness and no skill expression. And that's where I land with the Battlefield 6 beta. The maps, mid, the movement, barely acceptable, and now they nerfed it into the ground. The gunplay, RNG spread nonsense, it's basically 2042 with a different skin. After 50 hours, I just don't see enough skill expression. There is no satisfaction in the gunplay or the movement, and nothing I've played makes me want to keep playing the game and buying it at launch. It's fine if you're a die-hard Battlefield fan, but it's nowhere near deserving the hype it's getting. The only reason I stuck with it for 50 hours was because I was playing with friends, and with friends, almost anything can feel decent. It's good for hopping on, zoning out, and just shooting people while you hang out in voice chat, but if you're looking for a game to grind solo or a game with actual satisfying gunplay, then I cannot recommend it. Sure, bugs can be patched, performance can improve, visual clutter can get cleaned up, but the core design choices like spread and sluggish movement, those aren't going anywhere. And for me, those are deal breakers. No amount of marketing or polish will turn this into the Battlefield I wanna play. I'd rather log back into Battlefield 5 with 5,000 players than put up with this mud and spread mess. I'll keep an eye out for more maps and patches, and maybe if it hits a cheap subscription, I'll give it another shot with my friends, but as it stands right now, this just isn't it.